Direct News TV. October 9, 2023. Israel-Hamas war. Live news, Gaza under total blockade, refugee camp hit. Dozens of Palestinians killed and wounded in Israeli air attack on Jabalia refugee camp, health officials in Gaza say. Israel's defense minister says Gaza stripped to go under total blockade, including a ban on admitting food and fuel. The intense bombardment has so far displaced more than 120,000 people in the besieged Palestinian enclave. The Israeli army says 100,000 reserve troops have amassed near Gaza, where Palestinian fighters say they are holding 130 people captive. The latest death toll stands at 560 Palestinians in Gaza, according to health officials, and more than 800 Israelis, according to Israeli medical services. Hamas's surprise attack came after Israeli settlers stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in recent days and a record number of Palestinians were killed by Israel in recent months. U.S. confirms deaths of citizens in Israel. A U.S. State Department spokesman has confirmed the deaths of at least 9 Americans amid the ongoing fighting between Hamas and Israel. Speaking to U.S. media outlet CNN, Matthew Miller said Washington expected further deaths of U.S. citizens to be confirmed. EU freezes aid payments for Palestinians. The European Commission puts its full portfolio of development aid to Palestinians, worth €691 million, $728.66 million, under review. The scale of terror and brutality against Israel and its people is a turning point, Oliver Varhelyi, the EU Commissioner for Neighbourhood and Enlargement, said in a post on social media platform X. There can be no business as usual, Varhelyi said. The decision means that payments are immediately suspended, projects put under review and new budget proposals postponed until further notice, he added. Relatives desperately searching for loved ones at techno music festival site. People in Israel are still searching for missing relatives who were present at a techno music festival on Saturday in the Negev desert near the Gaza fence, during which an attack by Hamas fighters killed at least 250 people. I don't know if my daughter is lying somewhere bleeding, I don't know if they took her to Gaza, I don't know if she is suffering, Ahoa Maisel told the DPA news agency. The last time Maisel spoke to her daughter Audie was on Saturday morning, she told DPA. There is a massacre here, they are causing a massacre, hundreds of terrorists are shooting, Audie told Maisel during their brief conversation. If someone is holding her captive, please, please, stay human. We all have the same DNA, we are all just human, Maisel said. UN schools and shelters nearing capacity in Gaza. As Israeli attacks intensify in Gaza, Palestinians are forced to flee their homes and take refuge in UN schools and shelters, but many of these places are reaching capacity. Al Jazeera's Yumna El Sayed, reporting from Gaza, explained, "My family now are, with all the families in their building in the basement. So all buildings that have a basement their families, staying in their basements, that's the safest they can get to." Gunmen who infiltrated from Lebanon killed, Israeli army. The Israeli military says its soldiers have killed several gunmen who crossed the border from neighboring Lebanon. Further to the initial report, the IDF forces killed a number of militants who crossed into Israeli territory from Lebanese territory, it posted on X. Also, helicopter gunships are now attacking in space. Israel decides to shut down major offshore gas field. The Israeli government has suspended production at the Tamar gas field off its southern coast, the Ministry of Energy says. In the wake of the situation, Israel's defense establishment ordered the temporary suspension of natural gas supplies from the Tamar field, the ministry said in a statement. The economy's energy needs will be supplied by alternative fuels. The power industry is preparing to use alternative fuels to power its stations. Some of Tamar's gas is exported to neighboring Jordan and Egypt. U.S. confirms death of 9 Americans in Israel. The U.S. confirms the death of 9 Americans in Israel. We extend our deepest condolences to the victims and to the families of all those affected, and wish those injured a speedy recovery. We continue to monitor the situation closely and remain in touch with our Israeli partners, particularly the local authorities, a National Security Council spokesperson said in a statement. Israel says soldiers deployed against incursion from Lebanon. The spokesperson of the Israeli military has said troops have been deployed against a suspected infiltration from Lebanon. A report was received about the infiltration of several suspects into Israeli territory from Lebanese territory. IDF forces are deployed in the area, Daniel Hagari said in post on X. Israel's army radio gave the location as near Adamat, which is across from the Lebanese border towns of Alma El Chaib and Zahadra. Some Israelis refuse to leave Sderot despite calls for evacuation. In Sderot, some Israelis are refusing to leave despite official evacuation guidance and a barrage of rocket fire. One Israeli there told Al Jazeera's Charles Stratford, "No, I'm not going. Now is the time to stay in Sderot to hold our ground." Sderot was one of the initial towns that Hamas fighters entered on Saturday. When a Palestinian maths class becomes a victim of war. As the Israel-Hamas war broke out, a conflict-scarred preteen comforts an adult teacher, who also went through the horrors of an earlier conflict under Israeli occupation in the West Bank. When she couldn't say the words better herself, she turned to Palestinian poet and writer Mahmoud Darwish. "Palestine," she said, "peace to a land created for peace, yet has never seen a day of peace in its life." What is Hamas? A simple guide to the armed Palestinian group. The acronym Hamas stands for Islamic Resistance Movement, Harakat Muqawama al-Islamiyya, and in Arabic, Hamas means zeal. The group politically controls the Gaza Strip, a territory of about 365 square kilometers, 141 sq miles, that is home to more than 2 million people but is blockaded by Israel. Hamas has been in power in the Gaza Strip since 2007 after a brief war against Fatah forces loyal to President Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority and Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. EU to hold urgent talks on Gaza war. European Union foreign ministers are set to hold emergency talks on Tuesday to discuss the fighting in Gaza. I am convening tomorrow an emergency meeting of EU foreign ministers to address the situation in Israel and in the region, Josep Borrell, the bloc's foreign policy chief, wrote on X. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.